Hi guys, welcome to this new video. Today we are mixing bass, and I'll show you why in some of my mixes I have more bass tracks than I have guitars. So here it is. Without the guitars. So what's happening here? As you can see, I have 3 tracks for bass, and then I have a group track. So I have 4 tracks for bass. How did I end up here? Well, I recorded a clean DI, and then I split it into 3 channels. I copied it twice, basically. It's the same track. And why did I do that? It's because I want to treat the low end, the mid-range, and the distortion channel separately in different ways, and then I merge them back together with a group track. Okay? So this is why. And now I'll show you what I did on those tracks separately, one at a time. I'll show you what I did. Not much, as you can see, just an amp simulation here. Because it was a clean DI, I wanted to give it some personality, but you don't need this. It's up to taste. Next, I have an EQ here with a low-pass filter at 200 Hz. So on this track, I only want to hear everything below 200 Hz, and I want to process this range of frequencies and nothing else. Then I have a compressor, compressing really heavily, as you can see here on the ratio. And then just a limiter to finish the job. So in short, what do we do on this track? Well, we keep it as clean as possible and we compress it heavily so that we have a very even low end. And that's the point of having this track here. Okay, let's move on to the next one. So next, I'll show you what I did on the mid-range track. Here it is on its own. Let's check what I did on this track. I have the same amp simulation just to add some character because, like I said, it was a clean DI. I wanted it to have some more personality. And then I have an EQ where I did the opposite that I did previously. In this case, I high-passed everything at 200 so I can hear everything above 200 and nothing else below it. I have no low end on this track, so I can only process the mids. I just scooped out some frequencies that I didn't like, and that's it. Then some compression. I didn't go as heavy as the other track with compression here. As you can see, I compressed it with a ratio of 10, which is lower than the other track. And I don't have any limiter here, so it sounds a little bit more natural than the other track. Some de-essing because I had some high end that I didn't like, but nothing else going on. Then I have an EQ at the end of the chain to remove some resonances that were annoying me, and I just cut everything above 8K. There's no useful information there anyway. So, let's recap. This was my first track, the low-end track. And this is the second track that we just checked together with the mid-range. They sound ugly on their own, but if you put them together, I mean, you can shape the sound however you want. This worked for my track, of course. Now, I have a third channel. Let's check it out. On my third channel, I have some distortion. Here's what it sounds like on its own. the reason why I like to have a third track for distortion is because this way I can keep my low end and mids relatively clean, and then I can blend in the distortion, and this allows me to keep some clarity because I still have my clean mids below my distortion, and it gives me definition. So that's why I like to have 3 tracks for bass. Now let's see what I did on the distortion channel. As you can see, again, not much going on, just an amp simulation, this time with distortion on, and then a high-pass filter at 200 because I didn't want to distort my low end. I want my low end to be clean, completely clean. So I only distorted the mid-range above 200. And then some more compression to even it out. That's all, really. So again, this is my clean sound, low end plus mid-range, my first 2 tracks. Blend the distortion in and you get this. So you still have very good definition because you kept your low end completely clean. You have your mid-range that's clean as well. Keep it clean for clarity. And then I have a distortion channel which I just blended in, and the volume of your distortion channel up to taste. Okay, now let's check my last track, which is the group track. The reason I have a group track is because at some point during the mix I felt like my elements were a little bit unglued, so I wanted to merge the 3 bass tracks back together. And how did I do that? So I started off with some EQ. I treated them as a single channel on my group track. So this EQ is affecting all 3 channels. But most importantly, what I did here is some multiband compression. So this is what I use to glue the tracks back together. Okay, it's not only about glue here. I remember when I mixed this, it was also about some frequencies poking out a little bit more than I wanted them to. So I was also trying to control certain ranges of the sound to keep it in check. So one bonus tip, look at the sound wave here, okay? Of my bass. Can you see how even it is? This is the raw DI track. It was already very even. So, as I said in my other video about guitars, try to get a very consistent performance from the start. I'll let you hear the DI track on its own without any processing, okay? I turned everything off on the group track, and I'm turning everything off on one of the channels so you can hear the clean DI on its own. This is what it sounded like. So the performance was good, it was very consistent. As you can see, the dynamics were already controlled. I'm not saying that you have to get a perfect performance, but try to get it as even as possible. And of course, this track wasn't perfect either. It was edited a little bit, but not too much. Some slight edits here and there are fine, but try to get a very clean sound from the start. And when I say a clean sound, I mean, as you can see, the notes are all long and well connected to each other. Okay? Also, when it comes to bass, when you are recording bass, this is crucial, by the way, you must be very good with muting strings. So you have to mute every single note and harmonic that you are not playing in that moment. Make sure you have a great muting technique, because if you don't mute properly, it's going to be very obvious when recording bass. In this performance, there are no natural harmonics playing or strings, open strings ringing that I didn't need. You can only hear the note that I was playing. Everything else was properly muted. I didn't have any other note ringing out while I was playing. And this is very crucial to get a good bass sound. so make sure to get your muting right. If you were curious, the bass I used for this track is this one. I used this bad boy here. I love this bass. Sadly, I can't use it much, just a few times a year, because it has a very strong character, let's say, and I don't think it fits in every style that I need to play. But for this track, I loved it. Classic rock sound. So that's all from me for today. I hope I gave you some nice ideas for your bass sounds. And I think I'll make another video about this, because I don't always mix my bass like this with 3 tracks. Sometimes I just like to process a single one. So I'll make another video about that, okay? Thanks for sticking around. If there's anything that I missed and you want to know about, write a comment. I'll make sure to respond to everyone. See you in the next one.